Holy fucking shit. That's pretty awesome. I'm sure you all have questions, so let's bring out Greg himself.
Sestero.
All right, what'd you guys think? That was my first time seeing it with a crowd. Some crazy shit. So just to let you guys know, there was no script. I literally showed up for 4 hours. They gave me the situation and just said, do whatever you want to do. And so all those lines, I don't know, I'm like watching it now, I'm like, where the hell did I come up with that shit? Like, I couldn't, like right now in the moment, I could not think of, like I must have been like possessed or something. But it was so much fun to make. It was like, I literally filmed for 4 hours and took off. It was like we did like one take for each setup. And then they put all that other stuff together. But I didn't get to see really any of the other clips, which was really cool to watch. But I'm sure you guys have questions. Yeah.
Did you know it was going to be on tapes before you started filming, or was it just?
So they kind of told me loosely the setup, and they kind of guided me when they're like, okay, you're going way over here. The scene has to end up here, so how do we get there? And they, kind of told me about the Santa Claus thing, but I didn't really fully get it. I just knew, hey, I get to hold a family hostage on Christmas Eve. Sure, that sounds fun. So they would just guide me to kind of, head to that. And I got to pick which movies to talk about, like the VHS tapes. So it felt very nostalgic, because that's how Christmas was back then. Oh, and then when I said, I wanted Magic Mike. So it's not Magic Mike like the new thing. Back in the 80s, there was a toy called Magic Mike at Toys R Us. And it was like a robot, it had like these weird ears, and you'd press it, and it'd go around your kitchen and like smoke would come out of its mouth. And back then that was really cool. So that's what Magic Mike was. Yeah.
Were there any moments that you guys filmed that you really liked that didn't make it into the final cut?
Just takes, really, like just all day. They just chose, we did the scene a couple times, and they would just choose the best ad-libs. And then the whole scene about chewing the cookie. Like, I didn't want to know who those people were when I was doing it, because I wanted it to be as serious as possible. So if we met and bullshitted for a while, it would feel too personal. So like, I didn't want to know them. And then afterwards, it was so much fun getting a chance to talk.
Was it an intentional choice to hold the gun in the least conventional way?
Yeah, I don't feel ever comfortable holding a gun, and it was like, however I could do to put this away from people, but I thought it kind of added to the character as well. There's probably nothing even in that gun. It was probably a toy. Oh, that was a light. What was your favorite skit? For me, the last one. Yeah.
What's that guy's deal?
He was in Scary Movie.
Yeah, Goofy.
He was in a bunch of other stuff. Yeah. And he ad-libbed all that as well. Like it was.
Holy fuck.
I definitely want to work with him again for sure. Anybody else?
The guy in the box he reminded me of like Chris Campbell in a way. He was in the box.
Oh, that's funny you said. My mom. I showed this to my parents. My dad left about halfway through it, and then my mom had kind of fallen asleep, and then she saw that scene, and she's like, "Oh, is it the guy from The Office?" And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. So the guy who played the Santa, guess he's like an Australian actor. I didn't meet any of these people. I was just there for 4 hours. Yeah, he was good. Yeah, Steve Carell.
Yeah.
Oh, I showed this to my brother and his wife, and during the second skit, she's like, "You need to play a psycho more often." She's like, "You're more fun that way." Yeah.
What was the story of how the skits came together? Like each skit seemed like it had a different cast.
Yeah, that was so. Those were the filmmakers put those together. I had no idea even what they were. We were just picking movies out, and then whichever ones I chose, they would base the skit off of that movie.
So,
Travel Buggy should be the best one.
so did they have movies? So you put the movies and they didn't even have movies?
Yeah.
Oh, so okay, so you're part of the film first.
Yeah, it was just
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Exactly.
wild.
So, were there other tapes that you didn't pick up? And what
Yeah,
were
there was a
the
bunch.
titles of those?
I just chose the best titles.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought Travel Buggies would be a different vibe. But it was a good surprise when I got a chance to watch it. Anybody else? Yeah.
The thing that got me was the 26 bites of the cookie.
So there was this like fitness nutritionist guy that I talked to. He said the ideal way to eat your food and eat dinner is you should chew every bite 34 times. And so I was like, I mean, I get it, but like I'm gonna be out on a date and be like thinking about 34 and then take the next bite. And he sat there and we had like a chew off. It was the stupidest thing. So I don't know why when I was doing that scene, I was like, this guy needs to chew the cookie that many times so it digests really well. And they looked at me like, dude, where'd you come up with that? And there was this nutritionist guy who told me that's the way we should eat. So if you guys didn't chew your food tonight 34 times, you have improvement to do. Because I guess it like dissolves in a way where you have no indigestion. But who the fuck has time to chew 34 times?
That's every bite needs.
Every bite. Oh yeah, you do not stop until literally the food is liquid in your mouth.
Great, new neuroses, thanks.
I know, it stayed with me for a while. That's why he's like, you can't eat that cookie unless you chew it all the way. He had no idea what I was talking about. He's like, he had like sweat coming down. He's like, what am I doing in this movie? Yeah.
Would you do found footage again?
Yeah, I mean, this was really fun because, like I said, we did a movie called Infrared, where I played that character, but this time I owned like a haunted school that they wanted to rent from me. So it was so ridiculous and so much fun when they wanted to do that character. So Terror Films saw Infrared, and they're like, that character is so insane, we got to do something else. So if it's in that way and it's fun, then I'm totally down to do it. Yeah, I mean, there's no script. You just show up. It's like how we love to make movies growing up. And it was just, it was a really good time.
So it looked like the mom in the living room scenes there was about to lose her shit through half of the film. How often when you're doing those takes do you just have to stop because somebody just can't keep it together?
So honestly, in that one, it was like really uncomfortable. I think everyone was like, what is that? Because they had no idea what I was going to throw at them. And so I don't know if she laughed. I think she was more scared. But I did notice it looked like she wanted to laugh a lot, but I think they were more like nervous. But it did happen a lot on Infrared.
It was your turtleneck.
And it was, like I said, we filmed in like May, so in Sacramento, California, it was like 80 degrees. It was brutal.
What surprised you seeing the movie for the first time with an audience?
I didn't know about I knew it was an insane setup, but I didn't realize how it would be like creepy but then funny at the same time. Like I said, I just went balls out and just went for it and just had fun. I didn't know how all that was going to come together, but I didn't know how much comedy was there, and especially the last scene with Paranormal Perry. I just like because when they showed me like a rough cut, you just sort of like you're watching it, but when you see that with a crowd and you really take it in, there's just such brilliant cringe in there that you don't pick up when you're watching by yourself. That's why I think it's so important. Like, you could have this on at home and it's not going to land the same way if we're not all forced to sit there and really absorb it. All right, one more question? Yeah.
So there was a lot of mentions of like almost different timelines. So somebody mentioned the 80s, there was like mentions of YouTube, there was VHS tapes. Do you think your character like almost cased this house to find a family with a VHS player? Do your tapes?
Oh, totally. He scouted out all the neighborhoods. He was ready to go. There's no way he's going to show up with those tapes. Can you imagine? Like, we don't have a VHS player. So he knew what he was doing. Or he time traveled. But yeah, no, I mean, it's so cool that you guys came out and watched this. You're really the first audience outside of film festivals to have seen this. So whatever that means for better or worse. It's a hell of a way to start Christmas season, and you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for coming out.